All right, good evening, everybody. We're going to do another revolver episode. Tonight, we've got two guns on the table. One you're going to recognize because it's been in every video so far. This is our 1990 686, and this is our 2015 Model 19. We have a K-frame, we have an L-frame. I didn't do a video last night. I got in really late, and I wasn't gonna make that. I wasn't gonna get the video in time before midnight. But what we're gonna do today is we're gonna take a look at these two different vintages revolvers, and we're gonna sort of compare and contrast. A little bit we're going to talk about what's going on a little bit we're going to compare and contrast the actions, but what we're going to actually talk about is what's going on, the relationship between this trigger and this hammer and these bosses, these pins that hold this action together. And we're going to use both of these guns to take a look at how they look a couple of years apart. So let's get the grips off of this and get the side plate off of it. But first, before we move on, we'll just do a quick safety check. Make sure we are absolutely clear and empty. Make sure that we're all good, that we're safe, and that we are good to go. And we are. That one's a little tougher to get back on without a side plate. But all right, let's get the grips off of this and check it out. Okay, so that's it. We've got the side plate off, and we can check this out. And it looks very almost identical to what's going on in the 686 up here. But we've got a hammer, a hand, a trigger, a bolt, a trigger return block, a trigger return spring, a mainspring. I mean, you can see over 25 years of S&W evolution here. We don't really have a huge jump as far as intellectual jump in what's going on. There are some major improvements in the new K-frame, but even from the 90s, I mean, the L-frame really hasn't changed that much. But we have some major improvements in the K-frame. We'll go over those in another video. But tonight, what I really want to look at, bring in sort of this other tool here, and let's really zoom in. There we go. Move this up and into frame so you guys can see it a little bit better. But let's take a look at what we got going on here. So we've got a few internal pins, right? This is the pivot pin for this trigger. This is what it rides on. And then this is the main pin for the hammer. Now, we took a bunch of tension off of this mainspring. We'll take even a little bit more off of it. Let's just watch this thing function. Right, just watch it sort of rip through. Right, so try and elevate this off of the table here. But you can see everything that's going on. This is what happens every time the trigger is pulled. But what's really cool is that this is the interface point right here. This is the trigger and the hammer. This is where the two of them come together. Now, this still has a single action steer in it, even though it's a double action only revolver. This is an aftermarket part. I'm not too sure why they kept that feature, but if I manipulate this in the right way, I can get my thumb back here and I can cock that as if it were in single action mode. Sorry, we got a little lens glare going on there. So you can see, if I turn this just so, you can see down here's the trigger. That's the end of the trigger, and then this is the hammer, and that is it in single action mode. Make sure these are pushed all the way in, and if we pull that trigger, that hammer will fall, right? And it falls into that firing pin, which is located here. That is captive, by the way. And I can actually just sneak the screwdriver in and I can manipulate it. And you can see it kind of come out in the window here. You can see it protrude. So that's really what this whole thing looks like. Now, if we hop over to the 686, we can see that this all looks pretty much identical. And if we watch this go, let's bring this up a little bit. If we watch this thing go, we see it do all of the same things. So we can see this whole thing, working in single action and working in double action. And it's really pretty cool. This is really what's going on inside the Smith & Wesson revolver. I mean, these are all of its secrets pretty much just laid right out here. But this is everything that's happening to it every time it cycles. This is everything that's going on. And if we look here, what we can see is we can see these two pins, and we can see this spot. It's very difficult to make out from your perspective, but you can see this spot, and that is essentially all that makes it. Makes a triangle there. You know what I mean? It makes a triangle, and that makes it so that this thing doesn't take a whole lot of pressure in order to get it. It doesn't take a whole lot of pressure in order to get it to fire when it's in single action mode. So it's a pretty cool setup. It's an interesting way to build something, to build, really reliable platform. This is not new technology. This is stuff that's, sorry, I'm shaking you guys all over the place. This is stuff that's, 120 years old roughly. But it's a really cool technology, and it's cool to see this stuff work. And none of this is electronic or anything like that. It's all made out of metal, and it's all so intricately put together. And it's so fascinating to me to see something that's this perfect just work. It's just like a watch. So that is sort of tonight's rabbit hole on revolvers. I love this series. I like at this point I'm making these videos as much for myself as I am for the people that are watching them. I've been getting a lot of comments on these, and a lot of people have been really liking the revolver videos, but you guys seem to really have an appetite for technical information. So I'm gonna try and keep the tech part of it alive too, for a little bit of something to think about. This has got a big old port on the top, right? That's a barrel, and then there's a big old hole there. This gun. Oh yeah. Got a couple of holes up there in the top of the barrel. I wonder what those do. If anybody's got an idea or wants to throw out a comment about that, maybe you think you know what they do, leave it in the comments. But until next time, until tomorrow, I hope, I'll catch you guys later.